Greetings, this is Pop Angelo. I've been having a great time here on Vandalism for the last, I guess about 6 months, maybe more. I thought it was time that I say something cohesive about what I've been doing. There's about 280 something posts of mine. A few of them are reposts, things that I was unhappy with, so I redid them, both covers and my own work. There's about 200 songs, I think, of that are actually original tunes of different genre. There's the country western genre, which I'm closely in touch with, if you will, as part of my orientation to music. There's also early rock and roll, or maybe some cutting edge stuff later on. And there's a lot of folk rock, folk blues, a little bit of a mishmash of it. I'm not a purist in that sense. I'm a purist in the way in which I make music and deliver music. I try to use as low a technology as possible. In this case, I've been using, I believe in every single case, an acoustic instrument that's not plugged into anything, except for the available microphone on the device that I'm recording with. I've kept all of this very simple. I've only played with lighting as a kind of a novelty. I've got a background in lighting, so I didn't want to get too carried away with that stuff. And I have the intention of maybe making one video, a real video, kind of as a grand finale, if you will, as I approach the number 300 of posts. Beyond that, I'm unsure of what it is I want to do, because it becomes ludicrous at some point to say how many songs can I make, or how many should I erase or redo, or so forth and so on. I believe that's an ample folio of my music on any level. Some of the songs that I posted here are songs that I've written very carefully, sat down, wrote them, and struggled over lyrics, or wrote lyrics that I was moved to write quickly, or whatever. Different techniques of writing. And a large number of the more recent things, I'd say possibly the last 80 or 100 songs, are things that I actually wrote impromptu, and by that I mean impromptu, truly, where I would sit in front of the recording device with a guitar, and after doodling for a few moments, I would then just begin to play guitar and invent a song as I was playing. Now, it's not as though I have no basis for this, because I have a lot of ideas. I've done a lot of writing in the past, different kinds of writing. I've written a few manuscripts. I've written poetry. I've written even a script for plays, and I've done a lot of communication in my life as a teacher, or on radio, television, a couple of other things. But the joy of it is that what I try to do is to create an image in my mind, or some kind of a nuance, some kind of an emotional state, whatever, and report that as purely as I can with my choice of words and movement and intonation in my singing. Trying not to weigh this down with lots of academic theories about music and so forth and so on. So I always say this to my students who paint with me or draw. Think more like a wild animal running through the woods, astute in every way, being sensitive to everything around you, and responding to that. Now, at this stage of my life, that's pretty much how I paint, how I draw. I seldom use models anymore to do the figure and whatnot. And my photography is usually done with the very low technology I like to do. But my music is very different, because it comes from many different directions. And here on Vandalism, we have the joy of having all this stuff funneling into us, which is a wonderful experience. Being able to see someone in Russia doing classical music, and someone in China doing something else. And so all over the world, this is wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. And of course, across Europe and the United States, all of these different cultural attributes coming together. And I won't use the word melting pot, because that's a cliche. But people are offering their offerings, and in the very best way they can, they're doing recordings of it. They're offering them sincerely. Some of them are very technologically advanced. Some are not. Some are very, very basic, but still genuine and pure. I've often said this in my teaching: there's no such thing as high art and low art. There's just art. There may be different stages of development, but I have as much respect for someone who's scratching on a wall with a stone as I do somebody who's exhibiting gallery work in an important gallery. And I truly mean that. If there's something cohesive about the work and the aesthetics of it, and I don't mean to sound very esoteric, but when I evaluate music, I try not to get into, oh, it's made up of this run and that chord, and that means nothing as far as I'm concerned. It's what, at the end of it, how it hits you, what the texture of it is, the form, the intonation, the color. It's got very basic elements that make the song or the tune or the story work in someone else's mind. I always delight when I show photographs or paintings or any type of artwork, or songs for that matter, to see how people react to them and what they have to say. If they can't get beyond what colors I'm using, well, then they're not really talking about painting. They're talking about how somebody might try to paint. And if they're talking about very, very basic elements, well, they're missing the point, because art is a cohesive thing. And it talks in broad terms. It doesn't talk in little tiny little pieces. Like, you know, if you want to talk about an engine, you don't start talking about every screw and bolt and nut that goes into it. That's nice if you're repairing it as a mechanic, but when you want to see the performance of the engine, you want to see the torque and the horsepower and its consumption of gas and so forth, the big issues. That's how you start to deal with it. Well, art is the same way, the way in which it performs as a whole. I don't want to know about the laces the girl wore on her dance shoes as she's partaking in modern dance or ballet. I want to see how she moves and glides through the air and what the choreography consists of and what it might suggest to me. Well, music works the same way. I want to see it in big ways, the big elements. And at this stage of my life, I even like the things that go wrong, the little mistakes or imperfections. One of the things I've grown tired of are things that are so manufactured and derivative, and you know, they're squeezed through so many filters in the studio, and they sound so over-prepared that they're like processed food. They have no flavor anymore. I'd rather listen to people in very basic, ordinary situations, offering from their heart, with their instruments, what they have to say and do. That's what fascinates me. I'm not preaching or instructing on how other people should look at music or art. I don't really much care about that. That's an academic discussion. I'm not here for that. I'm just speaking to myself, speaking to you about myself in terms of how I experience music and what's important to me. And the end result is, how does it make you feel? And does it change you in some way? Does it put you to some paces? Do you remember something? Do you remember someone? That, I think, becomes the real issues. So how it hits you as a human. In-house, I guess we can talk about what kind of strings we use and all that other gobbledygook. And that's okay. I have that kind of conversation with people, too, all the time about all the things I do. But ultimately, I want to hear something and just hear it as a whole and deal with that and see how it, you know, you see me use terms like wow or rock out or the flame, the burning in the belly type of thing, the beast in the stomach, the wild dog. Those are the analogies I like to make because those are more important to me than little itsy-bitsy things that are going on. I like to experiment and explore, and probably the people I'm the fondest of here on Fandolism are the people that seem to be doing that. Not that I'm not fond of everyone else, but the people that I seem to be the most fascinated with. They've got a lot of those broken edges on them that I actually like in performance art, the things that are quirky and unexpected. I think Picasso wanted us always to look for the imperfect and the unexpected. That because in there, the surprise of art is alive. And I think that that holds true in music. The things that sound like they're so manicured and over-fabricated and, you know, contrived. I'm kind of tired of it. And in this age of electronics, it's kind of sapped the life out of what should be breathing when you hear it. Music should be breathing when you hear it. It should be alive and well, not talked about or regarded like something that's dead in the morgue. There's enough of that in the museums. I've been talking for 10 minutes. That's too long. If you've listened to this, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. This is Angelo MARINOSCI Jr., or to you, Papa Angelo. Thank you.